is Madison Moon, and tonight I am doing another book video. So these are some books that I have read in the last couple months, and I've done a couple other videos like this, and you guys seem to like them, so I wanted to make more for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, I have the Crown of Gilded Bones. Now, this is the third book in I thought it was a trilogy, but it's actually not a trilogy. I think there's going to be a fourth book. In fact, no, I know that there's just going to be a fourth book, but anyways, this is from the series, the Blood and Ash series, written by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and it's a fantasy series. It's a little spicy, so if that's your thing, this is definitely a fun book. I mean, a fun series, I guess. It's a series. They're all spicy. So, anyway, the first one is called From Blood and Ash. This is the third one. It just came out semi-recently. I'd been waiting for a while for that because it was a quarantine read. So, but yeah, it's a fantasy series, and it's about like a completely other world. So there's a lot of world building, which I really like. Honestly, it's a nice escape, and it centers around a girl who lives in a kingdom, and she's supposed to be the maiden and essentially advance into, I don't want to spoil anything, and I always do this. I know I don't want to give too many details, and that's kind of annoying. But I mean, this is a really popular series, so you've probably heard of it. But it's really good. A lot of supernatural characters and politics, adventure. I'm trying to think of what else to say about it without giving anything away. I don't know, y'all should just read it if you like fantasy and you don't mind spice. This is a great series to read. Like I said, you've probably heard of it. It's pretty popular. Do you prefer like paperback book sounds or hardcover book sounds? Which one's your favorite? I don't know if I have like a favorite. I think that they both are unique and they both sound good. The Crown of Gilded Bones. My neighbor's dog keeps barking, so I apologize for the cuts. Okay. My neighbor's dogs keep barking, so so I apologize for all the cuts. Next up is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. She is a mystery and thriller writer. She's really good. She wrote One by One, which is a really great mystery novel that I think I've reviewed in another video. It's about like I'm not going to talk about another book when I'm reviewing another book right here. Stay focused. Anyway, this book is about a girl that gets a nanny job at this kind of remote house in, I think, Scotland or Ireland. There's just some weird stuff around the house, and you start to wonder if it's like haunted or what's going on. But it's good for sure. If you like mystery thriller books, Ruth Ware is an amazing author. All of her books are super good. I also read The The Woman in Cabin 10, which was okay. Not my favorite book by her, but it was fine. It took place on a cruise ship. I've been really into mystery the last year. I always, growing up, I was always into fantasy fiction, and now that I'm older, I feel like I just like fiction in general. It doesn't always have to be fantasy, but I still like fantasy. I just also like mystery and thrillers and even historical fiction. Any fiction. I do read nonfiction sometimes, but it's, I don't know. That's my life 24/7, so. Alright. Next up, I just read this one. And I do not want you coming for me about this because I am super late to the game. But The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. I know. Like a billion years too late, but so good. I read this. I went to Florida recently for my sister's wedding, and I was reading this on the plane, and it's unbelievable. I also watched the movie this week, and it was okay. I think that they kind of missed out on some important points that the book is about. They obviously hit the climaxes of the story, but book to movie adaptations are always really complicated, so I always, give people some leniency, and I know people can be really critical, but it's hard to turn a really good book into a movie. Think about all the details that go into it, and it's hard to do that, so. But this is a really good book. I loved this book. The Secret Life of Bees. In case you have lived under a rock and haven't heard of this book, it's about a white girl in 1964, and she has a black caretaker, and there's an incident that happens, and they end up running away together, and they go to this honey farm ran by a family of black women. And mind you, 1964 is the time when the Civil Rights Act was actually put into effect, so it was kind of a difficult time in history. Just a lot of transitions, and racism was and is alive today. So they touch on that, and some important conversations are had. It's just a really good book, honestly. It's historical fiction. It's very good, though. I don't want to give too much away. The first Sue Monk Kidd book that I read was called The Book of Longings, and I'm not sure if I've talked about it in another video, but I loved that book. She's only written 4 fiction books and a few non-fiction, but so far I've read 2 out of 4. I have the other 2 on my bookshelf. I'm going to read them. She's an amazing, amazing author. The Book of Longings by her is a take on Jesus' wife. I feel like I've talked about this before, but whatever. I'm not a religious person. I would say I'm spiritual, but not religious. But it has nothing to do with that. You can read it even if you're an atheist. It's just a good story. It is historical fiction as well. And I thought it was just a really unique story about Jesus' wife, and kind of if the story were different, and it was just really well done, and I think about it a lot, honestly. It's definitely one of my favorite books. Okay, next is Merle's Door. I can't remember if I've talked about this one, so forgive me if I have. I read this pretty recently. This is a non-fiction book. It is a story, really just a recollection of a guy and his dog, and he lived in remote Wyoming, and he found this dog when he was on a trip once, relationship with animals and nature and living remotely and what that looks like. Honestly, just a beautiful story. Sobbed my absolute eyes out at the end because, you know, of course you're waiting for the dog to die, and because you know it's gonna happen, right? Like, there's no way that wasn't gonna happen. And I just, every time I kept thinking it was gonna happen, I would just start sobbing. And I felt like a little teased, kind of. Not that I wanted it to happen, but I knew it was going to happen. And I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Basically, every chapter towards the end, I lost my marbles over. So, super good though. There are some parts that I disagree with in this book. I'm a dog owner and a ferret owner myself, and although I, of course, don't have all the answers, I'm very particular about things. In my experience, I also was a vet tech for a few years, so I don't know, I feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge about animals. I've had them my whole life, and there was just some things I disagreed with, but overall, super good book, and really heartwarming, really funny at times, and educational. So if you like nonfiction, love dogs, I would definitely read this book. The puppy. Okay, next up is A Court of Thorns and Roses, another very popular series that you've probably seen like go viral on like TikTok and stuff like that. Also known as ACOTAR. Sarah J. Maas, I'm not sure how you say her last name. She's a wonderful fantasy writer, definitely one of the best I've read in years. She actually wrote a book that I believe I talked about in a video before called, it's the Crescent series. It's a Crescent City series, and there's only one book out so far. And it's so good. It's so good. I think it's called House of Earth and Blood, I think is the first book. It's big, but it's like an adult fantasy fiction novel that is set in a world. Here I go again, talking about other books. Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway, whatever. I've talked about it before. If you want to watch the video, I'll link it here. This book is a 5-book series. I'm on the last one right now. This is the first book in the series. It is a fantasy book, and I think it's technically a young adult, but it's very spicy. Very good. I'm in love with the man in this book, and I refuse to believe that he's fictional, so I'm gonna live that reality. But anyways, it's about a fictional world, a full fantasy world, great world building, and it's about a continent that's like separated by all these different kingdoms. There's like the day court, the night court, the autumn court, the spring court. It's like seasonal, and also whatever you would call day, night. Anyway, very good. It starts off with about a mortal girl who hunts a wolf that ends up being fae, and it gets her into like this whole situation. And there's a lot of like war in this book. It's very political, but good. Fairies. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard of this book as well. It is good. I highly recommend it. I am on the last book, so I'll probably do another review or talk about or talk about the series again when I finish it, but it's very good. Okay, next is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. He wrote A Man Called Ove, which I've never read, but I know was popular. This is really good. This is a story from different people's perspectives during a this is fiction. I believe it takes place in like Switzerland or Finland. I can't remember, but it's not here in the US. I feel like it's one of those like Netherlands area. It's written in English though, in case you're wondering. So yeah, different people's perspectives within a hostage situation. So there's some like suspense in there. Some of the characters are like massively annoying, and I think it does a good job of delving into just like the good and bad of humans, and kind of like the truth about how we get ourselves into situations, the fronts that we put on towards other people. I felt like it was a good story just about what being human is. So, very good book. Pretty quick read if I recall. I read this a few months ago now, but anxious people. Next is The Silent Patient by Alex Mcmicholitis. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. This is a mystery thriller. Super good. I can definitely see this one being made into a movie. It was pretty... This is one of those books where I thought I knew what was going on. And I was like kind of right, but not like fully right. So, it's essentially about a woman who murders her husband and gets put in a psych ward because she doesn't speak at all. She spoke before the murder, but did not speak after she killed her husband. And it's about the therapist that treats her while she is in the psych facility. It's pretty crazy. You definitely have to like kind of pay attention if you want to even have any chance of guessing what happens. But it's good. It's really good. Pretty fast paced too. Definitely like a binge worthy book. But it is. I definitely recommend. I did get annoyed in the beginning, like most way through the book actually, that she just wouldn't talk. I was like, oh, come on, just drove me crazy. But there's a reason for it. I won't spoil anything as usual, but super good. Alright, next is this book called Behind Closed Doors. This book was okay. Very fast read, very binge-worthy book. It's a mystery book. It is, I take it back. I thought it was good. There's just some parts in the book that I didn't love, or I didn't feel like were believable. However, if you immerse yourself into a book and just go with the flow, then that's not a problem. And I typically do that, honestly. I kind of like suspend my disbelief when watching movies or reading books because, one, I already know they're fiction, so I'm not sitting here trying to fact check everything. But I know that some people don't like things that aren't possible or have some holes in them, but it was a really good book. I thought it was a unique book. It was very, all I will say, because I definitely don't want to spoil it, is that it's a woman. She gets married to a man relatively quickly. He's very good looking. And the situation behind closed doors is not what it seemed. So, it's disturbing. Just a trigger warning, it is disturbing. Not for the, I wouldn't say for the faint heart, because there is some, I don't want to spoil anything, but just, if you're sensitive, and obviously no hate about that, we all have our things and our lives and things that, trigger us, so it is a bit disturbing. I would probably read up on it if you are worried before you actually delve into it. I want to bring up something that I think is interesting that I've noticed. The best murder and thriller mystery books seem to always be written in Europe, or the authors or the place or whatever. It's always Europe based. It's never in America, I've noticed. I think mystery series or just authors in general are just better in Europe. I don't know what it is, but I'm talking about Europe. I'm talking about the UK, that area. Don't come for me, I don't know geography super well, but a lot of them are based in London or Scotland, or I know the Netherlands aren't in the UK. I'm a little smart, not super smart, but I don't know, they seem to be based in other countries that aren't America. Even my favorite series, the Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny, which I've talked about many times, is based in Canada. So, just something I've noticed. Okay, last but not least, accidentally made a pile, is Beekeeping for Beginners. This is a nonfiction book about beekeeping. I only started it a little bit ago. I've only read a little bit of it. But I don't know if I'll start a bee colony in my current house. Just because I'm not sure. I do own my house, but I'm still not sure if I'm going to stay here. I don't really necessarily want to stay in the town that I live in. And so I don't want to start something that I'm not sure is going to be a very permanent situation. So I don't know. I would love to have bees. I love bees. I respect them so much. I think they're fascinating. I love watching videos of people saving bee colonies when they get, or beehives when they get into things. I think there's a woman on TikTok and YouTube. I think it's Texas Bee Works or something. But she basically goes to people's properties and saves beehives when they decide to make their home in a toilet or a car, or I don't know. It's fascinating. She never wears protective gear. She just scoops them up and moves them. And I don't know, I could just watch that for hours. I think it's fascinating. But yeah, how to raise your first bee colonies. I am a person that has a lot of hobbies that I start and don't finish, and I think that's another reason why I want to keep learning about this over the next few years and see if it's something I really want to do, because as I've gotten older, I've invested a lot of money into things that I haven't followed through with, and I need to be honest about that with myself. And so now anytime I want to buy something or get into doing something, I give myself multiple months to see if I'm still interested in it. And it's not because, think if you apply yourself, you can be good at a lot of things. It's just that I will commit to things, and then if I don't have the time for it, or I don't want to make the time for it, I just won't do it anymore. And it's just wasteful. And anyway, so beekeeping, it's a big thing to take on, and the only reason I think I would be good at it is because I've always had a lot of animals. I love animals. I hope to have like a huge property someday with a ton of land, so I can have more than like the normal domestic animals. I would love to have some goats and pigs and horses. Maybe horses, they're very expensive. But getting off track, I think I could be a good bee mom. So anyway, maybe someday. It gives me a few years to think about it before I move anyway, so. If you raise bees, let me know. I'm very curious about your thoughts on it. This book smells good. I love the way books smell. I don't know about you, but I love to like crack open new books or old books even. I kind of like when books are like musty. I don't know. When they have that like old book smell. I just really like the smell of books. I refuse to get like a Kindle or a even like, I mean, I guess you can use an iPad too, but Nook, whatever those things are, I refuse. I want to know if other people are out there feel this way, but I love like a physical, no, like holding a novel. I don't know why. I just can't get myself. I know it's cheaper to just buy electronic books, and I know it's better for the environment. I love having physical books. I love my bookshelf. I just can't get myself to make the switch. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you enjoy all of these book videos. I love making them. I love reading. I'm sorry I've been MIA a little bit lately, kind of not really posting weekly. I've had a ton of stuff going on, and sometimes when I struggle with my mental health, I don't really want to try to film because I feel like it wouldn't be fun for me, and I like doing this. I like making videos for you guys, and I just don't want to be inauthentic in any way or disingenuous. And if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to make good content. So I know I'm a small creator, so I'm sure people aren't like, where is she? But if you were wondering why I've been inconsistent, I've just been busy and just trying to get my mental health back on track so that I can make the best content for you guys. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'm always super grateful to see you guys comment and let me know that you like these videos, because it really means a lot to me, and I feel like we're sharing something special. So I promise to always make more book videos. This won't be the last one. I'll make another one probably in a few months, maybe a month or two, depending on how many books I get read. So lately I've been reading less and playing a ton of Spiritfarer, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game, but I'm obsessed with it, and I can't stop playing it, and it's like ruining my sleep. So I've convinced myself it's helping my mental health though, so I will not stop. Anyway, thanks again.